And as you're listening to us, please, on our Facebook page is TIG, Twitter at This Is Gospel GH, Instagram TIGShow, and WhatsApp lines are activated now 0553529232. This is the TIG show. My name is Frankie 5, and the woman in the hot seat this evening is our own Dzigbordi. Good evening, madam.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Wow, it's good to meet you.
Great to be here.
This is Hit FM, and this is the TIG show. This is gospel. In fact, we are so privileged to have you to, just, should I say, open the year for us. You are our first guest for 2017, and we are so excited that it is you who's made it possible for us to start the year 2017. We followed you for quite a while now, and we thought you'd be the best person to start the year with. Your name, there's a K, so I was trying to find out what the K stands for. What's the meaning of the K?
That comes in the middle of my name.
In the middle of your name, yeah.
It's Dzigbordi Kwaku Dosoo, and Kwaku is my maiden. That's my dad's name, but it's sort of a short version. It's just part of my brand. It's just DKD. Okay. One of the main principles of my brand is bringing clarity to people by God's grace, and DKD simply means define, no do.
Wow.
You define things that bring you clarity. You get to know it, and then you take action on them. And it actually matches my name, so that's why I have the Dzigbordi Kwaku Dosoo, which is DKD.
Beautiful. Wow. Yes. So you just heard that. Right. We from Sunday school and from Sabbath school and everywhere, we've learned how Saul persecuted the Christians and became poor. So on this particular segment, where we're going to be discussing New Year resolutions, we would like to dig a little bit into your life a bit. At every Christian journey, everybody has his or her own Damascus experience. We want to just in some few minutes know a little about yours. Have you had any such experience in the Lord, and how did it start? Where and when?
I've actually been in Christian life for a while, and I have had Damascus experiences. The first thing one of your producers spoke to me about, and I said I'll never forget him because that's the first thing he told me. I said, what's the show about? He said, the Damascus experience. So I started to reflect on my life, and I've probably had a number of them, but the most significant usually is what you start your life. I started ministry life really before I traveled to the US. I was here. I used to attend ICGC when they were invading Powell, actually. That was my background.
Yeah, sure.
Around 1988. Then I left the country and I went to the US. And after that, what the gospel or what Christianity we call backsliding. I went back, and life happened to me, so I went back into the world. And I remember one of my biggest stories was we had a young people's party when I was in university. I think I was in my third year, and a group of us traveled to another state. In the US there are different states for a party. And when we were returning, everybody had something to drink, and so they asked me to drive the car. And I remember it was a 7-hour journey, and somebody drove 2 hours, and I had to drive the rest of the journey. And the only way I survived the journey from that state to where I was living in Virginia at that point was to drink a bottle of vodka. And yes, so every few minutes then I would be sleeping, so I would take a shot in the bottle, then I'll put it under the chair, and then I'll drive another few minutes, and then I'll take a shot. And that never happened in my life before. I used to have alcohol here and there. I used to follow my brothers. I'm the only girl out of 8 brothers. I was the last one. So I'd been exposed to alcohol quite early in my life. So I drank a bottle of vodka, and by the time I got to the apartment, I don't know how I got in the apartment, but from what I understand, I passed out. And from the day I woke up from that, I said I was never going to touch alcohol again till today. And that was somewhere probably 1992, 93.
Wow.
So if you want to talk about Damascus experiences, I would give my first and significant one. And once I came back to Christ, that was it.
That was it.
No turning back.
There's not been any turning back. You've never tasted alcohol again.
I'd never had alcohol again.
Wow.
It was just went cold turkey. It wasn't, nobody stopped me. Nobody ever told me to stop. Nobody ever told me, it wasn't that I was preached to. I just quit. And I don't think I even quit because really I just saw what it had done or where my life was going, and I just decided, no, that was it. Till today.
You were lucky you did not really meet any police patrol? Or you didn't meet any of them?
We actually got stopped.
By police?
Yes.
They spoke to you?
Yes.
And they
let us go. I had that at the bottom of my chair, and I remember when he stopped us, he asked where we're going. I said, we're just coming from a party. And he said, drive safe.
Whoa.
Just that was God's saving grace. Yes. And that is one of the reasons why, that was the last time I remember seeing everything clearly. The next time I saw, I was somewhere on the ground. And when I woke up, I had passed out. But I remember the incident with the policeman, and he said, drive safe. And I know that's actually not usually normal, because as soon as you are stopped, you would actually be seen as someone who's drunk. You would actually put on a breathalyzer and you'd be taken to jail. But that didn't happen to me.
It is the act of God.
It's the saving grace of God. I know now, when I look back, that every aspect of that journey was God's grace.
Did you grow up in Ghana?
Yes.
You were born here?
Yes.
Okay, so until what age did you travel to the USA?
I grew up in Ghana. I went to Richards Preparatory School. I went to Accra Girls Secondary School, finished secondary school, just at the base of, before I went into sixth form, then I traveled into the US.
Okay, so I mean...
so I had my university,
in the
my
US.
Tertiary in the US.
In the US. Okay, so at what point in time did you take, this job, ministry, as part of your... I know your normal job you do, but this is your ministry also. At what point in time did you realize that after that saving grace, you would have to speak about this man that saved you from that?
Well, after that, I was still in university, but when I finished university, I relocated first, to a different state, somewhere upstate New York, and then I came back. When I came back, Action Chapel, Washington, D.C. was in the formative stages, and I joined the church. I found my way back into ministry quite early, and I started working in church very, very early. I headed the protocol and ushers department. And I worked in ministry for quite a number of years. And then sometime in 1997, a man of God came, Reverend Dr. Ebenezer Markway, came to our church in Washington, D.C. And he gave me a word. At that time, I had been restless for about 8 to 9 months, wanting to know what to do with my life. I was working, I was in a very top job in a bank. I'd reached a very high level. I was very comfortable when you talk about in terms of status. But there was just something that was not right with my life. I just felt restless. I felt I was in church, I was giving my all, My house was the place where we had morning devotions. I was serving in the house of God. I was in ministry. Everything on the outside looked good. But inside my life, there were nights I would wake up and I couldn't sleep. And I knew there was something else left. And I kept asking God what was left. I was in a very great relationship. It wasn't relationship and ready to be married at that time. Almost literally engaged. But still, there was a big gap. And it was like I was being called into something. I couldn't figure out what it was. Until the man of God came and he said that that's where I was not the land that I was supposed to be in. And that if I stay in the land, what I saw that eagles had, I thought I was an eagle. That was chicken feed. But when I moved into the right place that God had for me, that is when I would actually soar like an eagle.
Wow.
And at that time, I felt I was being called to come home. And everybody said to me in the US, don't you even dare. We are dying to have an opportunity like this. And you have decided you're going to go back home. And I said yes. And I packed my stuff, put everything in storage, sold my car, gave my apartment back, and I paid whatever bills I could pay. And I only had about $40 with me.
$40?
Yes.
Traveling back to Accra.
And that's how I came back to Ghana. I came back to Ghana with $40 in my pocket and nothing, no way out. And that is how I returned back to Ghana. At that time, everybody in my church, I mean, there are people who are back in Ghana now who know the story from my church. Everybody told me not to come. Everybody knew where I was, where I'd reached in life, from my head pastor all the way down. And they said there was no way that I'll make it anywhere close to what I did in the US if I came to Ghana. And at that time, I don't know whether any of you have experienced it. For my grandmother and my mother, whenever I came home, it was a big deal. Your daughter is back, this is who she is. And now I'd been back, and so when I came back and I came home, they told me, you're going back? I said, yes, I'm going. I said, I'm not going back. And they kept telling everybody she's going a month, 2 months, 3 months. I was on my grandmother's couch. And then after about 3 months, it started to get embarrassing for my family. 4 months, I was still here. So they literally, and I don't blame them. Today we laugh about it. But at that time, it was a very big deal. I was shunned and kicked out.
Oh.
And they didn't tell me leave, but everything they did was like, we just want to make you uncomfortable. And they did. So I relocated and went to live with my aunt in Sacramento. And that was my first turnaround. Because I couldn't find a job. People didn't know who I was. And I was just looking for a way out. And sometime late 1997, I met a gentleman who told me there's a company that was looking for someone. And I went into the place and I got the job the same day. And that was the beginning of my Ghanaian story, my turnaround.
Wow. What's this company?
I started working at Strategic African Securities
Yes.
in finance. And that was where my first job in Ghana was.
And that was where the story started.
That was where the story started.
Right.
To receive the kind of love that you give.
Yeah, so I read somewhere that New Year resolutions are like babies. They are very, 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 very good to make. Easy, flexible to make, very difficult to keep. So we just zoom straight into our main topic for the evening: New Year resolutions. As Christians, because that's where we come from, is it necessary to have a New Year resolution starting from 1st of January at all? Is it all right for a Christian to say, I would like to keep some New Year resolutions? Some of them will pen down, so write them in a diary and you keep note of them. Is it necessary at all as a Christian to have stuff like that?
When I think about my personal life, one of the things I've always thought about is really how you start any point, any transition. I see New Year as a very that it doesn't really necessarily have to start in January. Not all New Year start in January. The New Year starts when you want it to start. Your transition in life starts when there's any transition in life. I believe whether we as Christians, the ability to document is important because the Bible actually instructs us to document. But when you talk about the function or the concept of New Year, it's from one day to another. It's overnight. From the 31st to the 1st, you're in a new day. It doesn't necessarily have to be there. Whenever you hear the word resolution, it means a resolve. It means you have taken a position. You've actually inked something. You've made a resolve. Meaning that when you make a resolve, there are always consequences. You have decided that this is what you're going to do. Every time you resolve is close to making a vow. So what happens to a vow is that whenever you go against it or you miss it, it's devastating, just like anything. Marriage is a vow. So if you resolve, usually, how can you take small steps? But biblically, we are taught that we operate line by line, precept by precept. We move in processes. That is what the Bible says, not by an event. Glory to glory, step by step. So if you are moving in processes and you make a resolution, it means that you've resolved. You have taken a position. So you don't have a process, you have an event. The new year is an event.
Okay.
So if you take a position and you take a stand, then that means that when you fail on that stand, what's your alternative? But the concept tells you, the concept of grace is simply, it is finished. Whatever it is that you had was finished. So live your life in processes where grace abounds. Said the God of all grace. It didn't say the God of New Year, the God of some grace, the God of some day. He said the God of all grace will strengthen you. So it is all process every time. So whenever I think of the concept of resolutions, I feel it just puts you in a box. But I've come to realize in life that it's not even about putting yourself in a box or thinking outside of a box. I believe that everybody must create their own box. And if you're going to create your own box, the moment you give yourself a resolution, you are in the box. If the moment you try to kick the box, that moment you're already failing because you've gone against your word. There is nobody in life that doesn't make a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. Even as we sit here, we cannot strive towards and say that I'm going to be perfect. You can only progress towards perfection because you are not a perfect person. But a resolution tells you that I'm writing this down because resolutions are different from goals. People think the goal is the same thing. A goal is something you work towards. A resolution is a decision you've made.
Okay, I need you to clarify this because we confuse the two. Thank you very much for just bringing that, because you can see that somebody will make a list of the things I would like to achieve this very year.
Exactly.
And we mix the achievement, which the goals, with the resolution you are talking about. How do we separate them?
The distinguishing factor is what you just said. Small steps. One is a process. One is a decision. The decision is the resolution. One is a resolve. You have said that this is what it is, nothing else. A goal is a target, and you've said to yourself, I am working towards the target. The new year is, I am going to do this, and if this doesn't happen, I failed. But a goal is saying, I'm headed here. As I am going, I may fall by the wayside. I may jump back in. I may not come back in. But all the same, there's a target. So it's two different things, and that is where we get it wrong. When you hear the concept of write a vision, make it plain. It's talking about goals. It's talking about where you're going. It's talking about a set target. It's talking about an imagination. It's talking about a visualization. Call it what you want. It's talking about something you are going to see. So you have to work towards it. But as soon as you resolve that at the end of every 12 months, by hook or crook, I am going to change my life. That's why I gave myself as an example. I don't even know sometimes what I'm going to do at the new year. In 2015, when I started the year happy. I started the year with a lot of hope. I started the year with excitement. When I started 2016, I was in a totally different place. Because in the midst of the year 2015, I lost my husband. Almost 15 years of marriage. You lose your husband. Suddenly, you don't know what to do. You are a single parent. And I'm starting 12 months. And because I'm starting a new year, I should know what to do. 1 year, I'm starting with hope. The next year, I'm starting with a burden. So what do I say? I say, okay, my new year resolution is that I'm going to change from being a single parent, or I'm going to be what are you going to say? So people have to remember that it's not about the 12 months. It's about the transition. My new year started the day my husband died. That was a new year for me. Because as far as I was, my life had changed. So as Christians, we should remember the turning points. The turning points, and not the your new year can start anytime. Your new year can start on the day you get your new job. As soon as you get a new job, a new year has started for you, because before that you were jobless. As soon as you give your life to Christ, you are in a new year, because you are in a new dispensation. We should operate with dispensations and not calendar months, because 31st and 1st are just days. It's just overnight. If you actually go to bed and wake up, you're in a new day. Every day is new. And they say that every day God shows a new mercy. So does that mean that on the 1st, his mercy that he showed was different than he's showing today, the 8th? His mercies are new every morning. Not on the morning of the 1st of January, but every morning. So the moment you make a decision, and you have a goal, and you are working towards it, it's not the 1st of January that God will show you a different mercy from what he's going to show you on the 25th of December. So we need to understand that putting a resolution is putting yourself in a box. Setting a target, setting a goal, going through processes, getting better, making mistakes, falling along the wayside, rising up, going through burdens, walking through life by God's grace, and through God's processes, and working with his principles, by his guidelines, living according to his word and not what man says, living according to what you see and your imagination. That should take us towards the target, not a day. His mercies are new every morning.
Is there a way where we can have a resolution without spiritual backing, in as much as you have goals? Because I hear a lot of people say it happens by chance. You can list all of them, and if you're lucky, you know, a star might shine on you, and some of them might come to play and others might not. Does it have any spiritual connotations?
I believe that we as God's people don't operate by chance. Neither do we operate by luck. We know clearly that, I mean, they always talk about the fact that, you know, your destiny, there was a design before you were born. And this whole concept about the fact that luck, chance, and that's why the resolutions don't work out, because the research actually says that 8%, if at all, of resolutions work. By the 8th of today, so if somebody made a resolution last week Sunday, the percentage overall that people make their resolutions ever for the 12 months that last is 8%. Meaning that by the 8th, 92% of people have quit their resolutions. So I want to lose 10 pounds. By the 8th, they've already quit. I want to be the best at what I do this year. By the 8th, they've quit. Only 92% of people drop their resolutions by the 8th. That is today.
92%.
92%. Only 8% achieve their resolution past a week.
So by the 8th day,
yes,
about 92% resolution would have been broken.
In terms of what they have in their mind. Because you see, everybody is focused on the fact that I'm going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And they start that I'm going to start the year. Day 1, day 2, day 3. By the 3rd day, they stop going to the gym. Because they have said that I'm going to the gym every day this month. It's a resolve. But the thing about it is that if you take small bites and you say, my goal is this target, and therefore I am going to go to the gym. So let's say, as a Christian, you've said that. You've set a goal for yourself. So you go to the gym Monday, you go to the gym Tuesday, you go to the gym, and you quit. That doesn't mean that you are going to quit the gym this year. It means that something happened, you drop down, but you have an ultimate goal. So you keep going. But when you make a resolution, you feel like, if I'm going to go to the gym 7 days in the week, I'm going to go to the gym 4 days, and you miss, and you've gone only 2 days, or you've gone 1 day, you failed. You see, it's like a consequence. So people give up easily, because I started and I quit. And what happens is that people quit along the way. Almost 92% of people quit by the 8th day, because they set the bar so high, they make the decision so fast, and they drop it as fast. But when you take small bites, I'm going to get better. I'm going to walk in this process. I'm going to go in this process. This is my target. I'm working step by step. You actually have planned. You see, one of the things that I've heard is that mistakes are achievements. And when I first heard it, it didn't make sense. But it does make sense, because a mistake is an achievement. The reason why it's an achievement is because you attempted at all. What happens with resolutions is that as soon as you attempt, on the second attempt, you can quit. But when you make a mistake and you can still keep going, you've achieved. Because you took that first step.
Okay.
You didn't take the second step, but that first step is progress. I believe a Christian's life should be lived by progress and by process. You never live your life by resolve. Live your life step by step, precept by precept, taking little bites. That's what we should do. So spiritual backing, yes. Our concept of Christianity is simply faith. You are talking about Saul, Paul. What does he teach? Simply to become Christ-like, all you need is faith. Grace is what takes you through. It's not the law. The law tells you wrong and right. Grace tells you it's already finished. Keep going. Damascus experience, how did it happen? It happened by grace. It happened by his faith. What is that? Step by step. So focus on getting better. Focus on being relevant. Focus on making a difference. You see, one of the things I have seen about us, and one of the things I try to teach in ministry, in counseling, in coaching, every opportunity I get to tell people, is that when you focus on being relevant, it's very difficult to be ignored. Relevance is what is needed in this year. For us as Christians, a lot of times we put ourselves in a situation where we don't get best at anything, but we get good at everything. To be able to stand out, let's not focus on resolutions. Let's focus on progress and being relevant. I've realized that one of the biggest things we have is our faith. Belief is the mother of action. Belief is the mother of action. Passion comes out of belief. Everybody say, I'm passionate about God. I'm passionate about his work. I'm passionate about service. What do you believe? Can you serve? Can you give up everything for ministry? If you want to be someone who is influential, first believe, then become relevant, then your influence will come. After that, everything else falls into place. As Christians, relevance is what will make us outstanding. The reason why you see a lot of people going up higher in life, public figures, and they can't sustain the glory of God, is because a lot of times we believe that relevance is only in the world. But what takes us there is our burdens. Whenever somebody tells me, I want to be like you, I said, if you want to be like me, you can. But the only thing is that you have to be ready for the trials that you get up there, because you're going to face a lot, you're going to deal with a lot, but you have to stay relevant and actually acknowledge God in every step you take. Our relevance becomes irrelevant because we lose God along the way. We lose God. We lose the God factor. That is why we become irrelevant. I love programs like this because it makes your walk with God relevant. Relevance is very key. This year, choose to take a mission and stay relevant in the mission, instead of taking many missions and not being relevant in any. Pick a mission and be relevant. What you are best at, somebody is better than you at. The thing you believe you are best at, someone is better than you. How do you stay relevant when someone is better than you? It's the fact that your relevance is backed by God.
Amen.
That's the distinction. Because everything that you think you are humanly best at, there's somebody better than you. You can be an artist. You can have a gift. You can be a talented person. When I talk about an artist, I'm not talking about someone who sings. I'm talking about creative space. Yeah. You can be a speaker. You can be a teacher. You can be a singer. You can be someone who gives art. You can do anything. The bottom line is that talent and skill put together, that you feel you are best at. There are multiple people who are better than you. I have been in situations and you think you're so good and you get into a space and you find that you are just at the base. That is when you realize that the only thing that got me here is God.
Great.
The acknowledgement of God, the God factor, is what makes us relevant. So if you are looking at this new year and you want to focus on resolutions, that shouldn't be your focus. Instead of resolving, think of how do I become relevant. When I am looking at influence, everybody sees my influence in the public space. But I'm stronger when I'm in the house of God. My best service is in church. I love sweeping in church. I love packing chairs. I love working in the house of God. For me, that's service. For me, that's influence. For me, that's loving the things of God. It gives you that relevance in the public space. What you do in private with God makes you relevant in public.
Wow.
What you do in private with God, for God, not for man, is what makes you relevant in public. Because I believe that to become the highest leader, you need to be the best learner. Instead of us thinking of resolutions in the new year, whenever a new year starts, you need guidance, you need direction. You cannot lead without being the best learner. So it means that rather than focus on 12 months, look at when your year starts and say, my God, teach me again. Let me learn afresh. Because the more you lead, the more you learn. We leave learning and choose leading. They go together. When I think about years, I always tell people, look to life with perceptive, and leave perception. If your perception about yourself is limited, your perspective will be limited. Take away every perception about yourself and look at the perspective of God. That is how far you go. So this song reminds me that Some of us who carry the gospel every day, be it a 5-year-old child who is teaching in Sunday school or singing a Sunday school song, to a 90-year-old woman who's reading the Bible or singing a hymn, like my grandmother used to be, we are all leaders. Because your song can transform a life. Your word can transform a life. People can change in Sunday school, and people can change on their deathbed. The most important thing is what you do to a life. How do you do that? Always coming back to sit at the feet of God for Him to direct your path. And this song tells you, even if you are thinking about the new year of the 1st of January, it tells you that as soon as I enter a new phase, a new year, a new season, a new direction in my life, help me to come back and sit at your feet and learn how to move from there. Amen. It's a huge impact. And if there's anything, one of the key scriptures in the Bible that really always affects me, and I believe it affected my life in many ways. I mean, I talk about this with my pastor, Reverend Gilbert Hosea, my spiritual father. I speak with him a lot about these things. But one of the things that scriptures that we used to talk about a lot, and one of the things that has impacted my own life, is 1 Samuel 16, verse 18. When Saul was looking for someone to calm and soothe his soul, somebody said, they have seen a son of Jesse. And there were about 6 key factors they talked about to describe David. And the first thing they talked about was the fact that he's skilled. The second thing they talked about was he was talented. The third thing they talked about was that he was courageous. The fourth thing they talked about was that he was prudent in speech. And then the final thing they talked about was the fact that he was good looking. And then finally they said, and the Lord is with him. If you look at these 6 factors or 7 factors, basically they become your personal brand. As a Christian, one of the things everybody knows about me, I focus on helping people develop and build your image. That's what I do in my daily life. But I fuse that always with the biblical image. If you think about your life, you first must make sure that in addition to whatever talent, gift you've been given, without a skill, I call it skilling your gift. If you don't skill your gift, you can't become relevant. So the first thing you do is that you must skill your gift, skill your talent, meaning that take it to a level where it's no longer inherent, but is intentional. When your talent is inherent, people intentionally polish their talent and pass what you have. So if you don't skill your talent will stay inherent, meaning that it is part of you. It was given to you already as a gift. But the moment you skill it, you've intentionally polished it. So one, he had a skill of playing the harp. And then second, the Bible says that this young man was also courageous, meaning that as a Christian, you have to be confident. A lot of times, we have the ability to speak, but culturally, we don't expose ourselves to communicate. Speaking well comes from listening effectively, and then you'll be able to answer. You must be courageous, you must be bold. And say he was prudent in speech, meaning that as a Christian person, to build your personal brand, learn and develop yourself. And then it says that after being prudent in speech, they said that he was good looking. Carry yourself in a way that you would be respected as a Christian in every way. Your hygiene must be good. You take time and take care of yourself. Not because that you are a Christian, you leave yourself behind. Be admirable. Let people see you. Stand for something. Stand for God's kingdom. God's kingdom is not looking trashy. You see, a lot of people think that the best place that we look up to, the heaven that we describe, every time you describe anything about God, is good looking, is neat. Why don't we take care of ourselves? Then finally, it says that, and the Lord was with him. So it means that when you do all of these things, by bringing your skill to bear on your gift, by being prudent in speech, by being bold and confident and courageous, by carrying yourself with the right image, after you have all these things and the Lord is with you, you can call yourself the personal brand. Bring yourself to the feet of Jesus and let him guide you. It says that I am telling you that show me the way. If you want God to show you the way, prepare yourself and God will show you the way. Be the best learner and you'll be the most powerful leader.
All right. These are very powerful words from a powerful woman we've had in the studio. I've enjoyed myself, eh? We've missed Allure so much. We've missed Allure, Mom. We've missed Allure. What's happening to Allure?
Allure is back, actually. We just had
Allure is back?
Big time. We had our 10th anniversary on the 21st of December, and we have a whole new refurbished, rebranded, amazing atmosphere.
Oh, goodness.
You have to come for a tour. It's an amazing place to visit.
I can't wait.
Now we actually have a Allure Man, a new experience, and all of you here have to come and try it out.
Everybody, including Sidia, including the stressed up guy. Sidia, yes, he needs it.
They need to hit Allure Man.
He needs a massage.
It's a full experience, and Allure is back. So it's really exciting. In our 10th year, after ups and downs, it's been an amazing time, and by God's grace,
I know
we are back.
I know.
We are really back. So
I know. I'm happy to hear that.
so
Listeners, Allure is back. A lot of people were asking me on my page.
Yes, Allure is
Ask
back.
her, what happened to Allure? Where's Allure?
Allure is there, and Allure is back. We had our 10th anniversary. We had our rebranding, relaunch. Back bigger and better. So please visit.
Same venue.
Yeah, same
Laboni.
venue. Laboni, on the way on the ring road,
Yes.
just going from Dankwa Circle. And if you have any questions, there's 0244
Good.
344 347. Just call. They are always there.
The numbers
This
again.
year,
The numbers.
0244 344 347.
All right.
And this year there's going to be a lot from Dzigbordi. So just stay tuned. The butterfly is about to take a different dimension. You will be hearing a lot. But as you know, ministry is my heart. That's what leads me in everything I do. But we have a fresh Dzigbordi brand coming out with so many products, books. There's a new book coming out very soon called Relationship.
Relationship.
Yes, the power to design relationships, and
Wow.
it's something else. There's so much happening. Those who follow me on social media, you're going to be just seeing great things coming up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So get on it now. It's just at Dzigbordi Dosoo, and you're going to be seeing a lot this year. This year is a big year. It's a huge year.
Pregnant with a lot of blessings.
There's so many things that God has crafted and designed. And I believe that this year He's going to release it and bring us into new levels of prominence.
Hallelujah.
And I think that's what's going to happen. And I just pray for This Is Gospel and the whole team behind it.
Great.
I bless this show. I believe that it's one of God's assignments to bring gospel into prominence, and He's going to actually first lift you. This is the year 2017 of prominence, and He's going to lift TIG into a new level of relevance.
We receive it!
Into a new level of prominence. And I believe that every single member of the team, every single listener, every single stakeholder will benefit and get to their stage of prominence.
Hallelujah.
I believe that ministering angels will continue to go ahead of you.
Amen.
Warring angels will fight for you
Amen.
in every place.
Amen.
And you'll be covered on all sides.
Amen.
And the lines will fall upon you all in pleasant places.
Amen.
And I believe that this is the beginning of a new position, a new place of preparation that God has for you, a new purpose. And God is going to lift up your heads exalt your horns like unicorns, and bring you a new oil of prominence in Jesus' name.
Hallelujah.